If what I'm about to show you comes to pass, it will be one of the most startling and amazing insights that I've ever presented in the history of my ministry. That's a really big statement to make, especially if you've been following us for 20 or 30 years and you have noted from time to time when we would make a prophetic projection and it would happen. And this has happened on numerous occasions, and we don't say that in any boastful manner whatsoever. We're very grateful for at times that we receive an inspiration. Now, if you'll look behind me on a screen, we have Kamala Harris, who, go this way, with the number 47, and we have Donald Trump with the number 48. And you may be wondering what those numbers represent, and that's what this particular YouTube video is about. And I want you to watch it till the entire end, because the punchline comes at the end. All right. Stunning Hebraic insights into presidential numbers. Before I get into these two numbers and why they could be significant, let me explain to you my study. If you have kept up with our books, articles, our Voice of Evangelism magazine, or any other type of teaching that we have done in conferences or meetings or conventions, you know that one of my focuses is on understanding the Bible from a Hebraic perspective. We take a lot of the Old Testament and we do teaching from that and come into the New Testament and combine it together. We do studies on biblical numbers, what numbers mean. We do studies on the Hebrew alphabet. One of the fascinating studies of the Hebrew alphabet has to do with numbers. And let me explain this. The Hebrew alphabet has 22 letters, but it has no vowels. And each letter of the Hebrew alphabet has a symbol that it represents. For example, the first letter Aleph is an ox, Bet is a house, Gimel is a camel, Dalet is a door. And every symbol goes all the way down into the 22 letters, each with an individual symbol. And also, and this is important, each letter of the Hebrew alphabet has a specific numerical value. The first 10 letters are valued 1 through 10. Then the second 10 letters are valued 20, 30, and that is a series of numbers that are valued as well. And then you have two letters. Shin is 300 and Tav is 400. That's the last two letters. So they all have a numerical value. Now, I know you want to say, get to this, but you won't understand these two numbers that I'm going to give you from the Hebraic perspective till you understand the system I'm working. If I don't do this, you're going to say, how did you do that? How did you come up with that? So that's why I've got to get this across to you. There is a rabbinical method of interpretation of discovering hints and clues that are connected to Hebrew words, Hebrew letters, and Hebrew numbers. And I'm going to give you one example of this. And I don't know if there's a way of bringing this on the screen. And if they do bring this on the screen, I want you to do this from the Hebraic rabbinical perspective. And you know that we read, from left to right. Hebrew goes from right to left. We're going to do it that way. If you take the word man in Hebrew, it's ish. If you take the word woman in Hebrew, it's isha. Now, if you take the three letters that are in the Hebrew name, man, it's Aleph, Yud, and Shin. If you take the three Hebrew letters that are in the Hebrew name for woman, it's Aleph, Shin, He. So each have three letters. Now, let me break this down for you. If you take the Yud, which is in the middle of man's Hebrew name, and if you take the He, which is the last letter in a woman, the name for a woman in Hebrew, Isha, Yud He spells Yah. And Yah is an abbreviation of God's holy name, Yud He Vav He, Yahweh, or Yehovah, as some pronounce it. So this is just an example of that. Now, let's go a step further, and then we're going to get into these numbers. That if you take the letter Yud from man's name, which is in the middle of man's Hebrew name, if you take the Hebrew letter He, which is the last letter for the Hebrew Isha, meaning woman, it spells Esh, which means fire. So in other words, here's the key. if you take the Yud, Hey, the Yah, which is abbreviation for God, out of your marriage, you're going to have fire. Now, that's a rabbinical interpretation on the type of method that we're talking about using to get to this right here. All right, let's get to this right here because, again, I wanted you to have a foundation of this is why I'm doing this. I was asleep the other night, I should say, and I woke up and began to see this. So I contacted a friend of mine, Bill Cloud, and I said, Bill, I want you to just double check this with me. And he double checked it, and it's okay. In the election of 2016, I did president number 45. If you take 45 and break it down in the Hebrew alphabet, it's Mem Hay. And Mem Hay is a Hebrew word that means what? It's Ma. And when I was in Israel for years, they would say, Ma, Ma. And I said, what are they talking about Ma for? And found out that they were saying, what in Hebrew. I preached 3 places in West Virginia, Houston, Texas, before the election, and the day of the election at 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, that when the 2016 election, presidential election was done, the press would say, what? How did this happen? What? I can't believe it. And when Trump was elected, what was the main word the entire media was using? And I based it on the number 45 of him becoming the 45th president of the United States. So when Biden was elected, Biden became the 46th president of the United States. Now let's just stop right there. Biden is not going to run for re-election. Harris is going to run for election of president on the Democratic Party, as far as we know. And I don't think they're going to change that because it would be a real war in the party if they try to push her out now. That's what I believe. So she would be, if Biden is president 46, this would make her, if she won, president 47. But if Trump won, it would make him number 47. And I keep getting, where I'm sitting, I'm pointing to Trump and trying to do this. Let me say it again. Election takes place in November. Biden is in office. He's president 46. She wins. She's number 47. If Trump should win, he becomes 47. But there's a cog in the wheel. And this is where I'm saying, and as I said earlier, if this comes to pass like this, not saying it will, this is not a word from God. This is not a prophecy. This is a prophetic observation. Big difference from saying the Lord said and it being an observation. I just think it's interesting. There has been discussions about invoking the 25th Amendment. And let me tell you where that 25th Amendment came. It was not with the founders originally. It came after the Kennedy assassination. It was added to the Constitution, the 25th Amendment. Section 1 reads, I quote, in case of the removal of the president from office or his death or his resignation, the vice president shall become president. I'm not going to give my opinion as to whether this is a good idea or a bad idea, but there are some people presently, and we'll know in a couple days or weeks, whatever, but there are some people presently who are saying they are wanting to invoke the 25th Amendment and have Biden removed as president. Now, do I think they're going to do that? No. I personally, and I'm not, again, I don't know. Here's what happens if they do. Here is a prophetic possibility. Let's say they invoke that, then she is not president 46. She becomes president, howbeit up till the election, but she becomes president if the 25th Amendment is invoked, and she becomes president number 47. I looked at these numbers with Bill Cloud. 47, you have the letter Mem there. And the number 7 is the 7th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and it doesn't spell anything. So there's nothing special that I can find or we can find about number 47. However, if the 25th Amendment is invoked and she becomes president 47 and she wins, she's president 47. Okay? She remains that number. If the election occurs and she is temporarily president to replace Joe Biden if the 25th Amendment was invoked, then she loses the election to President Trump. He becomes president, let me get this right, number 48, right there, number 48. Now, why is that important? Because 47 in the Hebrew symbolism or in the Hebrew, like I said, 45 is ma, mem, he, and it means what? And that's President Donald Trump's number when he was president previously. 47 has nothing in particular. 48, listen to this, this is really heavy, represents a fatted calf. Now that's not the person, it's the symbolism of the letter 48. When you take the letter, the 4, and you take the 8, and you take those two Hebrew, the numerical value of the two Hebrew letters, it can figuratively refer to the fatted calf. Now, a fatted calf is not bad because when the prodigal son who was away returned, the father said, bring the fatted calf and let us celebrate the return of the son that was away from home. A fatted calf was what Abraham made when God and the angels came to discuss with him about the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. So a fatted calf represents in the Old Testament among the patriarchs prosperity. Prosperity. Now, it also, the number 48 refers to, or it deals with richness. Being rich, being prosperous. And figuratively, and I thought this was fascinating, the number 48 also represents a rich man. Okay, you can't make this stuff up, folks. So here's what I'm trying to say, and I want you to listen to me for just a moment, and I want to sum this up so you understand it. Using the numbers of the presidency, 45, Trump's first 4 years in office, was mem he, which is the word for what in Hebrew, and everybody was questioning what happened. Fox News, in fact, one of the women said, what? Everybody in America is awake today saying, what? How in the world did this happen? And my phone is blowing up because people heard me preach this 3 times before the election of 2016. Again, Biden is number 46. Whoever is elected becomes 47. The odd thing is, again, there's nothing specifically to be found in the number 47. It doesn't spell anything in particular, doesn't have a particular symbolism to it, right? You tracking with me? So if Trump becomes 47, Harris becomes 47, there's nothing in particular that it reveals to you just in the number 47. There's other prophetic parallels, definitely. One of those that I talked about, Donald Trump and Nebuchadnezzar, you need to go watch that if you haven't seen it yet. But if the 25th Amendment is invoked, she would become president by law, by Constitution. She would then be considered President 47 because she can't tag on to 46. She's an individual person. If she won the election, she remains 47. But if she loses to Donald Trump, he then becomes number 48. And again, the fatted calf, richness or prosperity, and figuratively 48, the number 48. And we're not going to, if I had a board here, I could draw it all out and give you the symbolism. We just don't have time to do that. I wanted to do this very quickly. And it actually, the number 48 represents a sense of blessing and a sense of prosperity. The number 48 does in Hebrew. Now, let me make this very, very clear. This is not a prophecy. And what I do not want people to do, especially the millions of people who follow our ministry, please don't say, did you hear Brother Perry prophesy? That's not what I'm doing. People do not understand a hint given in the Hebrew or in a narrative of an Old Testament story. They don't understand it. And when you begin to talk about it, it suddenly becomes prophecy. That's because everybody on the internet is trying to give a prophecy right now. I'm not doing that. First of all, I did not tell you, the Lord told me this. It is not a prophecy. It is a prophetic observation based on numbers. And will it happen? Who knows? Is it going to go this way? Who knows? But I wanted to give you this so that if it does end up, and by the second week of November, this has happened, then you will know, if he should win, what is in store based on the number. You say, well, I don't believe God's in all that. Well, God used 7 days of creation and 7 times 7 for Jubilee and the Shemitah cycle and the sabbatical. God loves numbers. Wish I had time to minister that to you, but I don't. All right. Now, I want you to keep watching, because in the prophetic realm of what we do, we always try to make something very special while it's available. You know, some of my books I'm about to run out of. So some of those that you want to get that have the prophetic information, you might want to order those from the ministry. Here's an announcement coming up. If you like this, and when I say if you like it, if you learn something, so that's pretty cool, hit thumbs up. I mean, hit it and pound that thing, man, right now, because I would like for a lot of people to see this so that if it happens, they will know, hey, you know what? The Lord really is in charge of world events. Thank you for your time. God bless you. Please give me your undivided attention. Many months ago, I began to hear secular economists announce a new global reset was coming. That's when I heard this phrase in my spirit, the American apocalyptic reset. For several weeks, I woke up early and began receiving a series of stunning prophetic downloads that I penned and now have placed them all in my brand new prophetic book, America's Apocalyptic Reset. This book is a must-read for all Christians, for all of those who love Bible prophecy, for conservative Americans and American patriots. The 19 chapters go extremely deep into exposing the agenda now being secretly plotted and to be publicly forced upon us, the American people, and how we can counter it. I discovered some very stunning ancient prophetic parallels and patterns, some that go back 4,000 years, that are repeating themselves in the United States right now. I deal with America's great Babel reset and the planned persecution of Christians, America's self-curse that will eventually bring judgment upon the nation, the coming Jezebel clash, the woman who will be president, how she should react and wisely resist corrupt governments. I reveal the unique Silicon Valley parallels and also go into the plans to bankrupt, then reset America economically. Also, I talk about how to function when the church must go underground. I received a very unique revelation concerning President Trump and a pattern that's found in history. There's a chapter also that I deal with how did the prophets get it wrong, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the most significant prophetic book in the history of my ministry, especially in the time that we're in. But that's not all. I'm also including my most recent inside information prophetic briefing on 2 audio CDs. It's 2 hours in length, and I will release detailed information that I cannot, and I want you to hear me, I cannot nor will I share this on social media or on television, as absolutely in the climate that we're now in, a lot of this information would be targeted for being blocked and banned if it was made public and not done in this private setting that we're doing it in. These 2 hours contain biblical, political, national, and international revelation and information that I am sure that many of you have not been aware of. It is for truth lovers only. I want you to order right now this prophetic resource package, my brand new book, The Apocalyptic Reset, and the 2-hour prophetic CDs by going online at perrystone.org or calling 1-888-21-BREAD, or write me at Perry Stone, P.O. Box 3595, Cleveland, Tennessee 37320. Now, we're making this available for your donation of $35 or more, and you can request the offer APR-140. That's APR-140. I'm going to unmask the radical globalists and individuals who have set out to oppose and silence Christians, silence patriots, and shut the mouth of conservatives, and we will show you in the book what we can do when we unite together. We are looking forward to getting this into your hands.
If you enjoyed this YouTube content, there's an important website you should know about, perrystone.org. Perrystone.org is an essential resource for the latest books, audiovisual presentations, and digital products from Perry Stone Ministries, resources that cover the same kinds of topics discussed in the program you just watched. Stop in and see all that's available at perrystone.org.